you seem really happy as a father, and
Yes.
which I didn't expect. I've been watching your content for years, and to see you doing the dad thing, like you're pushing on the swing, and all this stuff, it's really cool to see.
Well, okay, let me put it like this. A long time ago, I was listening to a Joe Budden podcast, and he was talking about how he has a really hard time listening to music at this point, because once you get really into the music industry, it's hard to just listen to a song and not think about the reasons why that song was created. Like, you hear a song and you're like, oh, this is his street song to try to like get the bodegas turned up, and then this is his love song to try to get the girls tuned in. And once you start like realizing that album rollouts are usually very similar, and a lot of these songs are just not really like created holistically.
They're all
just
strategic, and he knows the label side of it. So,
and at that point, you grew up loving hip hop, and now all of a sudden your perspective on it is kind of like, God damn, this shit is formulaic as fuck.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes it hard to like just hear
Enjoy
music and just feel this like passionate response. And I would kind of say the same thing about sex, where when I think about like the early days of my relationship, I was dying to have different threesomes and crazy out experiences and shit like that. But then once you start shooting porn, and a day at work might be me fucking 2 or 3 different girls with my girl, it's kind of like, it makes it hard for me to understand, like when I see like I hear these stories about rappers or NBA players who are just like chasing like crazy, and they're giving girls all this money per month to be around so that they can fuck them more and stuff. And I'm just kind of like, as a dude who's doing this as a source of income, that now seems quite foreign to me.
I mean, what seems foreign to you?
Like spending your entire life chasing and just like acting like it's the most important thing in the world.
Yeah, it's not. It's just like the biggest waste of time ever.
Yeah.
It's the biggest time suck. It's just not worth it.
And the reality is that if you want to have good sex, meaningful sex, you're probably going to get that by having sex with the same woman over and over, and not by
Which is great to see that you've been with hundreds of girls, and you're the one saying that.
Yeah.
So everybody like inherently knows that, but still, like that's the number one thing that's going to hold men back is their lust. I would say the same thing happened with probably like with Andrew Tate. He's like facing all these charges right now. Oh, he's completely innocent, but the number one vice that men are probably excused of is lust.
Yeah.
And you see so many countless examples of men going down over and over again. Even the president, like Bill Clinton, for example, like went down because he was getting some head. That's like the one thing that men are not shamed enough for that can really ruin your whole career. Like McGregor's getting accused of R-word. Every man, and I've seen this my whole life, and that's why I've been very careful, stuff like that. I've recorded so many stuff, audio messages, just like, even when I was like 15, 16, that's why you're not going to see any allegations against me, because I was always aware that's the number one thing that could ruin a man's entire career.
Yeah.
And so it's just best, I would say, for if there's any like teenage men watching, the best thing to do is to avoid that. And I know I'm saying this now, and 90% of the guys aren't going to do it. They're going to continue to chase anyway. Even me, probably. Like I don't want to put it out and say I'm going to mess up, but it's probably going to happen. But that's the number one. I see it equivalent to being a drug addict.
Right.
It's just a dopamine release, and there's nothing fulfilling about it.
Yeah. Because for me, like, I'm very happy to be in a committed relationship where I'm, sleeping in the same bed with this girl and having meaningful experiences that are going way outside of sex and everything with the family and
And you make a lot of money. Like, why still do porn?
Well, that's part of making a lot of money. But you're right, though. I don't have to do the porn thing, but I don't know.
Same thing with your wife too. You make so much. Does she need to do that?
She doesn't need to do it,
No, she
but
doesn't.
it feels like this is her career. This is what she's been doing for 6-7 years, and it's not like I think there's part of her that wants to kind of see what the heights of her career could be, because of the fact that her always being with me sort of held her back financially a little bit, because like the number one most requested thing is that they want to see her with the BBC.
Oh, it was a black dude.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, is it really that? Why even view it as a career? It's something. It's an intimate act, and you're separating that and turning it into a job.
Yeah, but at a certain point, raking in 6 figures a month from doing adult content becomes kind of part of your identity, And
does she want that or be her identity?
I think she just realizes that she's probably in the twilight of that, and that at some point,
This is the last chance.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably gonna have another kid within like 2-3 years, and then we're probably gonna have another kid. And at that point, I mean, let me tell you, having a kid makes the whole being a porn star thing for the woman infinitely more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's gonna have you. I mean, this might get personal, but like, have you thought about what's gonna happen when your kid starts finding out about this stuff?
Nah,
forget it.
I mean, it's just it is what it is. She'll have like she already, if she knew what was going on, she'd realize that like a large percentage of her mom's friends did this or do this.
So it's just normal.
I mean, I just don't think that it'll necessarily carry the same level of oomph once my kid gets to the age where she understands. And obviously you're going to like hide it from her until she is as old as possible so that she'll hopefully be able to kind of get it. Or maybe she could like get it in steps, like, oh, mom is a model. Mom's doing a photo shoot today. Like people, oh, mom makes money because people like the photos of mom.
Mom's getting BBC'd.
And then at some point it's like, oh, mom and dad were doing more than just taking photos. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's going to be the easiest conversation in the world over time, but I definitely know a lot of corn parents who their kids get it, don't really give a shit. I mean, we kind of have wokeness to thank for that. Thank you, LGBTQ pioneers out there, for sort of like the whole sex worker normalization thing. I think it kind of comes with that, and a lot of these kids like
that's
probably think that this is the kind of thing that it's not okay to look down on somebody for that.
But that's what's destroying. That's what's destroying the West. That's why LA is so. You love LA, right?
I like the fact that it has the best weather in the country, has the most opportunities.
But the
for
culture
me
is just like 1 in 3 people, you have no idea what gender they are. They're just walking around and they're just like, what hair do they have? What's their body? They have an Adam's apple and boobs. You don't know.
Okay, I can't confirm.
These alien people walking around.
I can't confirm that ratio, but I will say that I went to the farmer's market the other day and maybe I saw 100 people at the farmer's market in total. Pretty poppin' farmer's market, so it might be 200. I saw at least 3 trans people. So that really had me thinking, like, this ratio is going up.
But don't you see how you're using wokeness to justify, like, okay, well, woke culture is so strong right now. By the time my kid grows up, sex work is going to be so normalized that I won't even have to explain it. It's just going to be a regular thing.
That is one part of wokeness that I can appreciate. Also, like, normalizing, gay people feeling accepted in society. All right, so you see it. We just hit 500K. You know what that means? That means you got to subscribe and get us to 600K because we are dangerously close to 666K. Let's go.